Have you ever felt overwhelmed by storms of emotions, anger, anxiety, fear, or sadness, without being able to control them? How many times has a careless remark, a minor failure, or an unexpected event shattered your inner peace? Do you wish you could remain unshaken in all circumstances, unaffected by emotions, and untouched by the chaos of the outside world? Now imagine having a mind so resilient that no difficulty, pain, or challenge can disturb your peace and clarity. A mindset so strong that you can face any adversity while staying calm, composed, and in control. Is this truly possible? It may sound unrealistic, but in reality, anyone can achieve this state with the right training. As Buddha once said, you will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger. The suffering and distress we experience do not come from the outside world, they stem from how we react to it. If you can shift your mindset, learn to let go, and take control of your thoughts, nothing will have the power to hurt you. In this video, I will share with you 7 powerful lessons from Buddhist philosophy that will help you build an unshakable mind. If you often find yourself struggling with negative emotions, make sure to watch until the end because the most important lesson will be revealed at the final part, a key that will truly help you take charge of your life. And don't forget to leave a comment below. How do you usually react in stressful situations? Do you have any techniques to stay calm and in control? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's begin this journey of discovering the secrets to becoming the strongest version of yourself. 1. Detachment is your superpower. Attachment is one of the primary sources of suffering in human life. People often cling to relationships, material possessions, expectations, and specific outcomes, fearing that their loss will lead to emptiness or despair. This tendency to hold on tightly stems from a deep-rooted desire for stability and control in a world that is inherently impermanent. However, Buddhism teaches that true liberation comes not from controlling or possessing, but from detaching, releasing the need to dictate the course of events and allowing life to unfold naturally. Detachment does not mean apathy or emotional indifference. Many misunderstand the concept, believing that to detach is to cease caring. In reality, detachment is a practice of engaging fully with life while maintaining inner freedom. When one is too attached to a relationship, they may experience anxiety, jealousy, or fear of loss, leading to unhealthy dependency. Similarly, attachment to success or specific outcomes can create an emotional roller coaster. When things go well, there is elation. But when failure occurs, it leads to deep disappointment and self-doubt. The Buddhist perspective on detachment encourages individuals to pursue relationships and ambitions, but without an overwhelming sense of dependence. This allows people to love without possession, work towards goals without the burden of fear, and embrace change with an open heart rather than resistance. One of the most challenging aspects of detachment is overcoming the illusion that external things define personal worth. Many people believe that their identity is shaped by their relationships, achievements, or possessions. However, these external factors are transient and subject to change. A person who builds their self-worth around a particular relationship, for instance, may feel lost when that relationship ends. Similarly, an individual who ties their happiness solely to professional success will struggle deeply when faced with failure. Detachment, in this sense, is about shifting the focus inward, recognizing that true contentment arises not from external validation, but from a stable, independent sense of self. A real-life example illustrates this principle well. A friend who once suffered deeply from attachment in her relationships found herself constantly anxious about losing the people she loved. Her fear of rejection and abandonment caused emotional distress, making it difficult for her to enjoy the relationship she valued. However, as she gradually embraced the practice of detachment, she realized that love did not have to come with the fear of loss. She learned to cherish her relationships without clinging to them, understanding that people come and go as part of the natural flow of life. Instead of seeking security in attachment, she found security within herself. As a result, she was able to experience deeper, more authentic connections without the burden of dependency. Ultimately, detachment is about cultivating resilience and inner peace. It enables individuals to move through life with grace, appreciating experiences without being enslaved by them. Letting go does not mean ceasing to care. Rather, it is about realizing that nothing outside of oneself can truly define or complete an individual. By embracing detachment, people can love more freely, pursue their dreams without crippling fear, and navigate life's uncertainties with confidence. The essence of this practice is not avoidance, but liberation. The ability to live fully, engage deeply, and yet remain free. 2. Reframe pain as growth. Pain is an inevitable part of life. Yet the way individuals respond to it determines whether they succumb to suffering or emerge stronger. The fundamental difference between those who break under pressure and those who thrive lies in their ability to reframe pain as a catalyst for growth. Pain, rather than being a punishment or an obstacle, can serve as a profound teacher, offering valuable lessons in patience, resilience, and wisdom. However, most people instinctively perceive pain as negative, something to be avoided or eliminated. This aversion often leads to greater suffering, as resisting pain does not eliminate it, it only amplifies its power over the mind. Buddhism presents an alternative perspective, viewing pain as an integral and unavoidable aspect of the human experience. Instead of fighting against discomfort or attempting to escape from it, the practice encourages individuals to embrace pain with openness and curiosity. This shift in mindset transforms suffering from a source of distress into a gateway to personal development. When approached with awareness, pain ceases to be an enemy and instead becomes an ally in the journey towards self-improvement. The key is understanding that pain is not inherently destructive. What makes it unbearable is our interpretation of it. If we can change our perception, we can change our experience. A powerful metaphor that illustrates this concept is the growth of a seed into a tree. In order to reach its full potential, a seed must first break open within the darkness of the soil. It must push through resistance, endure pressure, and struggle upward toward the light. This process is neither easy nor painless, but it is essential. Without that initial breaking, the tree would never grow. Human growth follows a similar pattern. Periods of struggle, discomfort, and challenge often precede transformation. The most significant personal growth frequently arises from the most difficult experiences. Those who view pain as purely negative often seek to numb or escape it, whether through distractions, avoidance, or denial. However, this only postpones the inevitable, creating a cycle of temporary relief followed by deeper suffering. Conversely, those who choose to confront pain directly and reframe it as an opportunity gain a distinct advantage. They develop the ability to endure discomfort without being consumed by it. This is the foundation of true resilience. Rather than asking, "Why is this happening to me?" a more empowering question would be, "What is this teaching me?" Shifting from victimhood to growth-oriented thinking allows pain to become a source of strength rather than despair. In practical terms, this means welcoming challenges as stepping stones rather than burdens. A failure at work may teach humility and perseverance. A personal loss may deepen one's ability to empathize with others. Emotional pain may foster self-awareness and inner fortitude. Every painful experience contains within it the potential for transformation. The lesson here is clear. Pain should not be feared or avoided, but embraced as an essential force in shaping a wiser, stronger self. Growth is not found in comfort, but in the willingness to endure and evolve. 3. Control your inner dialogue. The way individuals speak to themselves internally plays a crucial role in shaping their experiences and emotional resilience. Inner dialogue acts as an ongoing narrative that influences perceptions, decisions, and overall well-being. When the mind is filled with negativity, self-doubt, and harsh criticism, it creates an internal environment where external challenges become even more overwhelming. People who constantly tell themselves that they are not good enough, incapable, or destined to fail become highly susceptible to suffering, as they allow their thoughts to dictate their limitations. This kind of inner dialogue not only erodes confidence, but also makes them more reactive to external circumstances, leaving them vulnerable to stress, rejection, and setbacks. The power of self-talk lies in its ability to either reinforce weakness or cultivate strength. Just as a negative inner voice can magnify fears and insecurities, a conscious shift toward positive self-talk can build an unshakable mental foundation. The words one repeatedly tells oneself become internalized beliefs, shaping reality in profound ways. Instead of engaging in habitual self-criticism, one can learn to consciously reframe thoughts in a way that fosters resilience and self-assurance. The key is to recognize that inner dialogue is not an objective truth. It is simply a habit of thinking that can be reprogrammed. By replacing self-defeating statements with words of encouragement, individuals regain control over their own narratives. A real-life example illustrates the impact of this shift. In a challenging work situation, someone experiencing self-doubt might instinctively think, "I am not good enough to handle this." Such a thought, if left unchecked, reinforces a belief in inadequacy, leading to hesitation, anxiety, and ultimately poorer performance. However, by consciously altering this inner dialogue to something like, "I am strong enough to face this challenge," the perception of the situation changes. This simple yet powerful reframe instills confidence and alters how the person approaches the problem. Instead of feeling paralyzed by fear, they develop a mindset that seeks solutions and perseveres in the face of adversity. The implications of mastering inner dialogue extend far beyond individual moments of self-doubt. Those who consistently engage in positive and constructive self-talk cultivate an internal support system that remains steady regardless of external circumstances. Instead of relying on external validation, they generate self-worth from within. When faced with criticism, they interpret it as feedback rather than a personal attack. When encountering failure, they see it as a stepping stone rather than a confirmation of inadequacy. This shift in perspective empowers individuals to navigate life with greater emotional stability and confidence. The lesson is clear. The way we speak to ourselves determines our capacity for resilience and personal growth. Negative self-talk weakens the mind, while positive and empowering dialogue strengthens it. By taking control of internal narratives, individuals can transform their outlook, enhance their ability to overcome challenges, and develop a mindset that remains unwavering in the face of adversity. The mind, when trained to support rather than sabotage, becomes the greatest ally in achieving success and inner peace. 4. Embrace the Stoic principle of Amor Fati, love of fate. The Stoic principle of Amor Fati, or the love of fate, is a mindset that transforms how individuals perceive life's events. Rather than resisting difficulties, lamenting misfortunes, or dwelling on regrets, this principle teaches that everything, whether perceived as good or bad, serves a purpose in our journey. By accepting all experiences as necessary, individuals cultivate resilience and wisdom, recognizing that each moment, no matter how painful or unexpected, contributes to personal evolution. Amor Fati is not about passive resignation, but about actively embracing every event as an integral and meaningful part of life. One of the greatest struggles in life is the tendency to reject hardship and cling to an idealized version of how things should be. People often resist reality, wishing for different circumstances, replaying regrets, or feeling victimized by misfortune. However, suffering does not come from external events themselves. It comes from the refusal to accept them as they are. The principle of Amor Fati invites individuals to shift their mindset from resistance to acceptance, from frustration to appreciation. When one stops seeing challenges as misfortunes and starts seeing them as opportunities for growth, life becomes less of a struggle and more of an enriching experience. This mindset can be profoundly transformative. Consider a real-life example of someone who lost their job during a company restructuring. Initially, they were devastated, feeling that their career had been derailed. However, rather than succumbing to despair, they chose to embrace Amor Fati. They viewed the job loss not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" they asked, "How can I make the most of this situation?" By shifting their perspective, they discovered a new career path that aligned more closely with their passions, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling role. What seemed like a loss turned into an opportunity for a better future. This example illustrates a crucial truth. Life's events are not inherently good or bad. It is our perception that assigns them meaning. When people interpret difficulties as unfair setbacks, they suffer. When they choose to embrace challenges with an open heart, they transform adversity into strength. Amor Fati teaches that resistance to reality only creates suffering, while acceptance brings inner peace and empowerment. It encourages people to see every experience, no matter how painful, as part of their unique story, shaping them into stronger and wiser individuals. In practical terms, this means relinquishing the illusion of control over external events and instead focusing on mastering one's response. It is about trusting that every experience, success or failure, joy or sorrow, plays a vital role in personal growth. By loving fate instead of fearing it, individuals unlock the ability to face uncertainty with courage and optimism. The lesson is clear. Life is not happening to you, it is happening for you. Challenges are not barriers, they are stepping stones towards strength, wisdom, and a deeper appreciation for the unfolding journey of life. 5. Master emotional control. Mastering emotional control is essential for cultivating a resilient and untouchable mindset. Life is filled with unpredictable events that trigger emotions, frustration, anger, sadness, and even excitement. While emotions are a natural and necessary part of the human experience, problems arise when they dictate our reactions. People who lack emotional control often find themselves at the mercy of their surroundings, easily disturbed by external circumstances. When someone criticizes them, they take it personally. When an unexpected setback occurs, they spiral into negativity. This vulnerability leaves them feeling powerless, constantly reacting rather than responding with intention. Emotional control does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending they do not exist. Instead, it involves understanding emotions as transient experiences rather than absolute truths. By recognizing that feelings come and go like waves, one can develop the ability to observe emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. Instead of being swept away by anger or sadness, emotionally intelligent individuals learn to pause, reflect, and choose a deliberate response rather than an impulsive reaction. This shift in perspective transforms emotions from uncontrollable forces into manageable experiences. A practical example highlights the power of this skill. Imagine driving in traffic when suddenly another driver recklessly cuts you off. The immediate emotional reaction might be anger, frustration, or even the urge to retaliate. Without emotional control, this brief incident could escalate into prolonged irritation, affecting the rest of the day. However, an emotionally aware person recognizes that allowing anger to take control only fuels negativity. Instead of reacting aggressively, they pause, take a deep breath, and consciously choose to let the moment pass. This simple decision prevents a temporary inconvenience from turning into a lasting emotional disturbance. This example illustrates a key principle. External events do not have inherent control over our emotions. Our interpretations and responses do. Many people assume that emotions arise directly from situations, but in reality, they stem from personal perspectives. Two individuals can face the same situation and have entirely different reactions based on their mental conditioning. Someone who has mastered emotional control can remain composed in stressful situations, while another person might become overwhelmed by the same experience. Developing emotional mastery requires consistent practice. Meditation, mindfulness, and self-reflection are powerful tools that help individuals observe their emotions without immediate judgment. Journaling emotions can provide insight into patterns of thought, allowing for conscious shifts in perspective. Additionally, reframing situations, choosing to see obstacles as learning experiences rather than personal attacks, helps in maintaining emotional equilibrium. Ultimately, emotional control is not about eliminating emotions, but about harnessing their energy in a constructive way. It enables individuals to navigate life with greater stability, ensuring that temporary emotions do not dictate long-term outcomes. By mastering this skill, one gains the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, cultivating inner peace that remains unshaken regardless of external circumstances. Emotional control is not just about avoiding negativity. It is about reclaiming the power to shape one's own experience with clarity, wisdom, and deliberate action. 6. Focus on what you can control. One of the most fundamental principles of building an unshakable mindset is the ability to focus only on what is within our control and release everything else. Many people waste tremendous amounts of energy worrying about factors beyond their influence, other people's opinions, past mistakes, or uncertainties about the future. This fixation on the uncontrollable often leads to frustration, anxiety, and a perpetual sense of helplessness. However, the moment one shifts attention to what can be controlled, thoughts, actions, and attitudes, they reclaim a sense of personal power and direction. A common source of distress comes from the illusion of control, the mistaken belief that if we worry enough or try hard enough, we can change external circumstances. The reality is that no amount of effort can alter what has already happened or dictate how others behave. Attempting to control the uncontrollable only results in exhaustion and disappointment. Instead, true strength comes from accepting reality as it is while focusing energy on areas where influence is possible. This approach not only enhances mental clarity, but also fosters emotional resilience, as individuals no longer feel victimized by circumstances beyond their reach. A real-life example illustrates this concept. A colleague once received harsh criticism at work. She could not control what others thought of her, nor could she erase the negative feedback. However, she understood that what mattered most was not the criticism itself, but how she responded to it. Rather than becoming defensive or allowing self-doubt to consume her, she made a conscious decision to use the feedback as a tool for growth. She acknowledged what was constructive, disregarded what was unnecessary, and improved her performance. By focusing on her own reaction rather than external judgments, she maintained her composure and ultimately gained confidence. This example underscores a crucial lesson. External events do not determine our emotional state. Our response to them does. Those who internalize this principle experience a profound shift in perspective. Instead of feeling powerless in the face of criticism, setbacks, or unforeseen challenges, they focus on what is within their control, their mindset, their choices, and their ability to adapt. This simple yet powerful shift transforms frustration into opportunity, turning obstacles into stepping stones rather than barriers. Developing this mindset requires practice. The first step is awareness, recognizing when thoughts drift toward uncontrollable factors and consciously redirecting them. Mindfulness, meditation, and journaling can help in identifying and restructuring thought patterns. Another essential practice is adopting a problem-solving approach rather than a reactive one. When faced with a challenge, instead of dwelling on what went wrong, asking, "What can I do now?" shifts the focus toward action and empowerment. Ultimately, letting go of what cannot be controlled is an act of liberation. It frees mental and emotional energy that would otherwise be wasted on frustration and redirects it toward purposeful, constructive action. Those who master this principle cultivate inner peace, resilience, and the ability to move forward with confidence, regardless of external circumstances. In the end, control is not about changing the outside world. It is about mastering one's own mind. 7. Build an unshakable identity. Building an unshakable identity is one of the most crucial steps in developing a mindset that remains resilient in the face of adversity. Identity is not just about who we are. It is about what we believe about ourselves and how we define our worth. When a person's sense of self is dependent on external validation, such as job titles, relationships, financial status, or societal recognition, it becomes fragile and easily influenced by external circumstances. Any shift in these external factors can lead to insecurity, self-doubt, or even an identity crisis. However, when identity is built upon a strong foundation of internal values, self-awareness, and self-acceptance, it becomes unshakable, allowing individuals to navigate life with greater confidence and emotional stability. Many people unconsciously allow external opinions to dictate their self-worth. They measure their value based on how others perceive them, constantly seeking approval or fearing rejection. This external dependence creates vulnerability, as their confidence rises and falls with external judgments. A person who ties their self-worth to career success will feel lost after a job loss. Someone who relies on relationships for validation will struggle deeply if a relationship ends. This instability prevents individuals from fully embracing their authentic selves, leading them to constantly adjust their identity to fit societal expectations. True strength comes from developing an identity that is independent of external factors. Self-awareness is the key to this transformation. Understanding one's own values, principles, and beliefs creates a solid foundation that cannot be easily shaken by external events. When a person is deeply connected to their inner self, They no longer seek validation from the outside world because they recognize that their worth is intrinsic. This shift allows them to experience life with a sense of security and self-sufficiency. Instead of feeling defined by success or failure, they remain grounded in their personal values, knowing that who they are is not dictated by temporary circumstances. A real-life example illustrates this transformation. A friend who struggled with self-doubt constantly compared herself to others. She based her self-worth on how she measured up in terms of achievements, appearance, and external recognition. This comparison led to anxiety and a persistent feeling of inadequacy. However, when she shifted her focus inward, identifying and embracing her core values, her confidence grew. She no longer needed external validation to feel worthy because her self-acceptance came from within. As a result, she was able to engage with life more authentically, free from the fear of judgment or the need for approval. This principle highlights an essential truth. Building an unshakable identity requires internal validation rather than external confirmation. It involves defining oneself based on personal values rather than circumstances, embracing individuality rather than comparison, and cultivating a deep sense of self-acceptance. By anchoring identity in who you are rather than what you have or what others think, you develop resilience that cannot be easily disrupted. When your sense of self is unshakable, you move through life with clarity, confidence, and true inner strength. Developing an untouchable mindset isn't about avoiding life's challenges. It's about facing them with wisdom, resilience, and clarity. Through detachment, reframing pain, and focusing on what you can control, you empower yourself to move through life with unwavering confidence. Begin your journey today and develop a mindset that can handle anything life throws your way. Remember, nothing outside of you can truly harm you unless you allow it.